Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Left 4 Dead 2. So, it's been a couple of hours and I honestly am going to struggle here to figure out where I was even at. I think we were in hard rain. Yeah, that seems about right. Think we were playing as Alice, we were playing as Easy. And I'm just going to have to assume that I just did Milltown. And it seems like the chapters here pretty much say we're going to the sugar mill and then to do a section called Mill Escape, then return to town, and then Town Escape. So we do know that this chapter, or this scenario, unlike any of the previous scenarios, is trying for something different. Which is nice to know. Yep. It really highlights just an issue, certainly. Once again, that there is no save file, and I had to exit out, and that's why I'm loading this back up. But, like, also that you can go through a whole section and really not know what's going on. And interesting, I'm getting, like, a ridiculous amount of basic tutorial stuff now. And since everybody is being reset, this health kit and this health kit, which I guess are just by default always there, are unnecessary. We do have a weird question, certainly, like, if you can call a vote to change the difficulty in multiplayer, does that imply that whenever somebody establishes a new setup for the multiplayer, they have to select a difficulty? Doesn't it make a lot more sense, generally speaking, that you would have an adaptive difficulty setting? Like, wouldn't that make way more sense for multiplayer? Like, one of the things you want to try and do with multiplayer content is limit the variety as much as possible as far as different lobbies that you would have to create. Interesting that I was getting very little help there.
Can somebody wait up? I gotta heal. Reloading.
There's the sugar mill.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And there's just like no reason not to run back up here and grab a weapon, another health kit, after that terrible option.
In here.
So we can hear a witch, and if there wasn't an invisible wall here, you would just be able to walk through here. So once again, they're definitely trying to make it so that you're not so much they're trying to use these signs as a pointer into the direction you should go. Meanwhile, you just got a lot of empty rooms. See little desks.
Bottle of puke here.
All kinds of pills
Come
and
on,
things.
this way. Pills.
Alright, guys. Seriously,
Grabbing pills.
are not gonna take the pills. I guess they all have the other thing.
Reload.
They have adrenaline shots, which I seriously doubt that all of 3 of the players need adrenaline shots. It's funny, I hear a witch crying, but it must be like up here. Is there any way to get up there? Is the question. Seems like the answer is no, unless we're gonna have to come back
Sky
around here.
black as pitch. Hey, I'm reloading.
Reloading.
Do I really need to
Reloading.
shoot 3 things?
Hunter's got
I'm just
Ellis.
walking directly towards the hunter. Suppose that was another path. And see, if those were scripted areas where you're being specifically punished.
Throwing a pipe bomb. Watch out.
And see if you manage to, even if you manage to really protect your group and kill the witch early, there's no real reward for that. Is there possibly
Just humiliating.
a way up here? Nope. I swear, there's another witch. This is getting a little ridiculous. Because now I don't have anything. And see, the zombies that are these construction workers pretty much would like the reflective lights and all that would be
I'm a reload.
theoretically something that would make it easier for you to actually see, to actually see the zombies. Interesting, you have this like big bright solar flare in your eye. That's an interesting experiment, but probably not a good experiment.
Reloading.
And so this is some kind of, they're calling it a sugar distillery. To me it looks more like something you would use to make alcohol, not sugar. But actually I have no idea how you make sugar, so maybe it is very similar to the process of making alcohol. I'll pick up a pipe bomb for sure. Interesting, you have these lockers here. I don't know the point of having broken doors pre-broken. I guess that's just to keep it visually interesting. I guess we're starting to see more overall wearing zombies, which that's a little unique, but not that unique, really. The grunting of the boomer sounded like it was
Sniper for me.
potentially going to be
Go.
a gargantuan.
Good to go.
I like the gun I have here. It's slightly slow. It's not a fully automatic, but it works fast enough.
Jockey, jockey!
At least on easy.
Having a thing on me!
And I guess what we may find is that we're just going to zigzag between some paths here,
Hey, I'm
and
reloading.
maybe that's where we
Reloading.
find the next witch. Yep. See, is this a witch? Probably.
Jesus, there's a lot of witches around this place.
Man, I'm gonna start crying in a minute.
Again, the underwear model.
That lamp.
Interesting, it stopped shooting.
Nice shot.
Oh, that felt like it just stopped shooting even though I was still pulling the trigger. Maybe maybe I
I hear spitter.
did run into an issue there. And I cannot shoot that to save the life of me. And there's no real safety in that room. I wonder if this is an undestroyable spawn closet, and the other is a destructible spawn closet building. And that's why they are next to each other. Like that.
Hot rod all the way!
So the game seems like it's intentionally here trying to either make you run out of bullets or just run an experiment on just how... Yeah, I really don't want any of these tooltips anymore. I wonder if there's a way to turn them off. Like, it's not really worth the effort at this point to try and turn them off, because we probably will never not see them again.
I need to reload.
It definitely feels like the case that the game is just saying we're gonna throw a whole bunch of witches at you, more than is a realistic amount, more than the number of bullets that you're going to actually have in your gun.
Witches in this place. Witches must really love sugar.
Hey, I'm gonna reload.
Interesting that the audio is getting louder and quieter. My. Interesting. Apparently, I haven't started over. So is the concept with the witches that you can maybe blow them away, yeah, and just get them out of a narrow area? Yeah, I have to question that.
This water's starting to pool. Shit.
So I wonder, as the water is starting to pool, if that means this will be more of a swamp area when we come back this direction.
I need to reload. Holy shit, that's a lot of witches.
The last time I saw this many crying women was at my wedding.
Let's see what's in here.
Weapons over here.
I think I basically need to select a different weapon as a way of getting something with more bullets. But I don't think I am getting anything with more bullets. I don't quite see where the witches are here,
Up here.
so I'm just gonna throw that way. So it's
Grabbing a pipe bomb.
the fully loaded hunting
just like that.
rifle.
I need to reload.
Might as well take
Good
the
to go.
pills.
Fit coming.
Did want to come up here and see if there was anything of real interest. I mean, it does seem like I could have maybe climbed up here.
Man, that is the most witches I ever saw.
What the hell do they got to cry about? We're the ones getting attacked.
See, the weird part here is I don't know. Like, I don't know where we're going. So it could be that there might be some solution that makes a lot of sense. So, yeah, I don't know if we're supposed to work our way around here, or if this was supposed to get us back up to this point.
Grenade!
Where's she coming? I don't know if she even has a...
Let's get you up and take a look at you.
Yeah, trying to figure out if there was even a path there.
Much obliged.
It's all good.
You gotta quit moving so I can heal you.
Oh, yeah.
We may run into a scenario here where these later sequences and scenes are fairly difficult, even on easy. And if that becomes the way things start to play out, then
All right, there's the gas station. Through the cane field.
Oh, we can take that elevator down to the field.
alright, well,
But Whole lot of witches around here.
I hit it. Get ready.
Killed like one zombie that way. Meanwhile, a whole bunch of zombies coming this way. The zombies don't like. The zombies don't really seem to slip or speed up or regain health or anything on the spitter goo, or get hurt on it either. That would have been an acceptable outcome.
Damn, you're good.
Alright.
I need to reload.
Reloading.
There's basically nothing to see here. This feels like this is a wall to load in a whole nother section. It seems like they're intentionally trying to hide some loading sections and make the areas a little bit bigger.
Welcome to Witchfield.
Dang. Witches must like sugar.
I find it
I hear a charger.
inappropriate to use the
Adrenaline
B
shot
word.
here.
Like, honestly,
Grabbing a shot.
that, like, we're already calling them witches. Do we need to go with the traditionally sexist term too? I mean, it really sounds misogynistic. I guess we just stay on the side. And I guess this is basically like that field.
Keep moving.
And I assume nope. I was about to say I assume I'm not gonna accidentally shoot the witch, but
Good.
I
think.
totally did.
Alice.
I owe you one.
All right. Hang on.
Anybody see that witch?
This might sting a bit.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So I don't know if this is supposed to be an audio thing or what. Like,
Keep moving. Head for the sign.
Keep moving.
and see, now we're stuck behind this sprinkler device
Crazy ladies are getting on my last nerve.
that waters plants in large amounts. Yeah, I don't know if that was supposed to just be an audio thing or what.
Go inbound.
And then I have no idea. See, there's a witch just wandering around. So it almost feels like the witches now have been programmed with some AI to kind of wander around a little bit more than they have in the past. Alright, so we got to a gas station.
There's gas in the safe room.
Yeah, I guess that's it.
We are the kings of the world.
I guess that's all you do for now. Is you move forward, and if halfway through this scenario you're dealing with all those witches, who knows what we're gonna end up doing at the end of the level. Is it actually saving the fact that we killed the witches that we killed, or are they gonna completely reset?
I got one.
Getting back to the boat ain't gonna be as easy as getting here.
Let's hit it.
Yeah, that should be alright. Let's see. So we went in the safe room
I'm here.
and
Let's go.
now we are coming out of the safe room. Did they actually pick up gas? Feels like there should have been an animation or something. Something like that. We got the fuel, returned to the boat. See, this feels more like a gallery section than
Reloading.
anything else, and that would have been fine. There could have definitely been a shooting gallery section where you are inside a lot of buildings. I don't know how you encourage that as a specific gameplay mechanic.
It's really storming.
Yeah.
Look out! Hey, I'm reloading.
Okay. So, if anything, I think at this point, the game is really encouraging you to enjoy the visuals of the game, one would say. But I feel like there's probably some falseness in making that claim too, because this is just straight up a hurricane. They have just wrecked the visuals on this way too much. Once again, you cannot adjust the gamma. This is going too far.
Hey, look at this here.
Trying to wait for Coach to get on in the elevator. Like, if you were gonna go to this point, now would be the time to see like a lightning strike or hurricane destroy the gas station, or have a hurricane or something destroy. Wow, just waiting right next.
I'm gonna reload.
The game got bored because I was on the ladder.
Reloading.
Yeah, this is getting, I think, pretty patently unfair as far as visibility is
Down
concerned.
the stairs.
And I don't know how in the world. Oh, I guess you can see that there's gas on my back. Is there gas on the back of any of the other characters? Yes, everybody is carrying a gas canister.
Reload.
A green, one assumes non-explosive gas canister.
We can cross on that tank.
Alright. So it does seem like the water is getting flooded enough that
That's just humiliating.
so that they seem like they are not really interested in having you go that direction.
on, this
Now
way.
this is weird that there's trees here. It's like almost as if it's trying to hide. Alright, here's what I'm gonna try and do.
Throwing a bomb bomb. Run! I can't draw.
Now, clear out some of the zombies. Feels a little too safe, a little too easy. I do appreciate that there's a different path and that there is an idea and concept being applied here as far as multiple paths and verticality in your level design, which they've been sorely missing that concept up until this point. That being said, it does seem like you just jump down at this level. I'm not seeing any other paths. I'm not gonna run and jump. Getting here. You can jump down here, and that's about the one thing you can do to maybe reduce the amount of damage from the fall. Flashlight's barely doing anything.
That was a nice shot.
Got some Molotovs over here,
Molotov.
which I guess I'll grab it. A lot of rain sound effects, but the rain sound effects really don't seem like they're changing anything in the actual gameplay. Like, because it's not like there is a audio effect at all. I guess they wanted you to get up to this point so you could jump over here. I assume this is the way we're supposed to go. Let's see. There was a point where we ran up this level. Right. Which means this was the little S curve. So we could have followed the pipe a little bit more in that direction. That would have given us
Healing. Cover me, please.
I definitely am having to heal myself more and more, so I'm getting worse at this game, or the scenarios are getting more difficult. I suspect the truth is the game is intentionally getting more difficult because I imagine we're getting a decent amount of feedback from the more pro players when they were originally playing the game. I suspect that the pro players were getting very good at this in the initial launch window of this game, and they probably were demanding more and more challenge, which you can only keep up with that demand for so long. And
There's the entrance. We're almost out of here.
while that does possibly add a little bit of life to your longevity to your game, it also can turn out to be interesting. There's a ceiling fan here. We haven't seen a lot of those. Playing this 12 years later, it now feels like there's just a bit of a difficulty curve. I won't call it a spike yet, but it definitely feels like it is getting more difficult. The spotlights are apparently short-circuiting here, so that's no longer lit up. Thing is not, they are not doing anything to help me there. We've seen that happen a few times where the AI just, the assistive characters just don't really care. And with that being so dark, that was really quick to run back through an area. And sure, they are definitely cheating here by making you run through the same area twice, but that's the kind of cheat that every single game designer does. Like, it totally makes sense that you would cheat it and help yourself as to have as much content as you possibly could. Right, so it does seem like whatever we left behind is the things you get when you come back. So we are
Man, the whole place is
limited
underwater.
in the amount of you're limited in the amount of health kits. But oddly,
Reloading.
The witches didn't seem like they were
Stick to the high ground.
in the same place. Maybe they would have been in the same place, but then they give you these high ground paths.
I'm gonna reload.
Okay. Are they staying close? See, I don't know if these guys are taking out a gargantuan or what. Music, I think, kind of fails pretty badly compared to the first game to make it obvious when something is happening
Reloading.
or what the thing is happening. Like, I'm getting music. I know something is happening. I am just not sure what it is.
Reloading.
Alright.
Reload.
Let's see. I don't think all of them make that jump. And if I make the jump over the fence here, like, I am now fairly far away from where they are. Porch light.
Hey, I'm reloading. Here's that garage sale.
So I think we're gonna miss a witch. Which, okay. It's not like a grenade launcher, I think, in this level at all. Let's see. I think you just kind of come this way. There's just a lot of things to avoid. I feel like I'm fairly close to the end. Where is he? Yeah. Feel like you just go down here. Nope. That wasn't the path. Oh, it's close enough. And the thing that we'll want to do here is,
The playground. Yeah, we're almost at the dock.
like, we'll want to throw a grenade, a Molotov just to see. So yeah, I guess the idea here is that you would trigger the storm events, and then that would be where all the zombies just come out of the woodwork. Is there a gargantuan over there or what? Alright, well, let's see what happens if we were just to throw this. Creates a fire, and that Molotov burns seemingly on the water just as well as anything else.
That's what I'm talking about.
I can't imagine that there's any way you would go through this sequence in this scenario, though, without just running through it like I am. And this is probably a lot closer to the way most people would experience most of these scenarios, because, let's just be honest, a significant amount of players will only have ever played this game in multiplayer. They would have never even begun to
What if we turn on the burger tank
think
sign?
about
Virgil might see it.
playing single player. That would have just not even been on the menu. Does this gun have a laser sight on it? Nope, it does not. So I don't want that. Meanwhile, I do want that. And since we left enough healing
Much better now.
on, we'll take that. So
Reloading.
I guess we are just turning on the sign. Turn on the sign to signal.
I'm gonna reload.
When you're walking through this water, it doesn't feel like it's particularly slowing you down much. Maybe just a little bit. But not enough that I'd even think about like bunny hopping or backwards hopping to try and get like infinite
Reloading.
velocity or any kind of tricks like that.
Reloading.
Reloading.
And I have to assume, because I reset in the middle of it, that all of this has just been reset. Like, otherwise there would be... Yeah. Some of these would have definitely been missing. Okay. So
Hey, I'm
we need to
reloading.
get to the roof. How many times can you smack a zombie? And we need to prepare ourselves for conflict on the roof.
Reloading.
And this is where it told us specifically to kind of leave some stuff.
Reloading.
Oops.
Ammo here.
Seems like none of the zombies actually decided to show up then. I'm trying to wait to see if these guys will get up to this area. If anything, it would make a lot of sense for the zombies to actually not attack and actually be killed during the storm. Them at least be knocked over and not capable of real escape.
Throwing a Molotov.
That's probably a bad place to throw a Molotov.
Reloading. Reloading.
And see, now it's just another time. We're just taking our sweet time to
Right, handbasket. Dude.
see if any zombies are going to show up in any larger numbers. Game got bored, so it decided to throw a gargantuan in there at us. And the gargantuan can't figure out how to get to us. And I don't think I'm ever gonna have to reset this like in the first game.
Reloading.
So let's just
Ellis, settle down, boy. You shot.
Ammo.
like I don't even need the hill to be particularly cautious. I think we'll wait for one more sequence, and then I think I just want to run back this direction. Let's see.
That one's mine.
Here comes some puke.
Watch out!
Over there.
Yeah, I still don't need any health. Even after that. Boat is taking forever. I wonder if perhaps we need to actually be over here. I mean, here it is.
The boat got back.
There you go.
Everyone to the boat.
Yeah. Somewhat anticlimactic in that ending, but not particularly any worse than any of the other endings. No big boss there. An interesting concept in having the rain effects, but it didn't really affect your movement. It really didn't change the path that much, because you really could have just walked the exact same path that you went if you could see it. It hurt visibility horribly. I suppose what I would like to do here is look at each of the scenarios we've done before and just think about what kind of boss creature or boss fight you would have expected to see in a game like this if this was more of a single player experience. For Heavy Rain, the witches became a big issue, so you would have expected them to either show up a lot more at the end, or you would have expected some kind of super witch character, or even maybe a super boomer from eating a whole bunch of sugar. Like, I guess the implication is that maybe sugar could make the witches faster. Alright, so Dead Center was like a mall, so you would have like, it was also kind of the intro area, so there wasn't really a need for anything special there. Like, I'm thinking maybe kids on skateboards, zombie kids on skateboards that moved a lot faster could have been it. You could have established that, much like the Dark Carnival that had the zombie clowns, there would have been a special enemy. The CEDA people, the FEMA characters in the suits, I guess they were supposed to be the special character in that scenario, but it didn't really feel like they were doing anything. Maybe they were immune to spitter acid, but if that was the case, there needed to have been a lot more spitters, and that would have been fine. The passing is really just rehashing the sacrifice over again. It's basically the same area. So if you were going to introduce someone there, it would have been very interesting if that was Zombie Bill, and that introduced a single zombie that shot at you and you could never really kill him. You could only damage him and make him run away as a boss fight. The Dark Carnival boss fight at the end, where you're doing the rock band, obviously you would have wanted to see the 4 rockers. Swamp Fever, giant alligator, I had already said that. Heavy Rain, Hard Rain here. Like, that gets back to the idea of crying. That gets back to the idea of the witch. So, yeah, a really fast, really powerful witch running around attacking you, and that being the main creature that you have to fight for several minutes would have been fine. Something like in Resident Evil 4, where you're fighting the brainwashed character that was your friend at one time, and something like that could have worked, and particularly if you were in a bit more of a smaller space, smaller arena, where guns aren't so useful against the witch, or if somehow they force you to use knives, or they heavily suggest that you use melee weapons. We don't know what happens at the parish. We do know what happens at the sacrifice, but if we were going to go with this concept and just name boss fights, in the sacrifice, you would have wanted to see a ultimate gargantuan, since the tank gargantuan creature was the biggest zombie in Left 4 Dead 1. In No Mercy, you would have wanted to see zombie doctors that threw scalpels at you, or some kind of monstrosity merging of corpses and bodies, some giant creature. Yeah, that would have been fine. In Crash Course with the car, the Crash Course was a very generic level. We can barely even remember it. A lot of the first Left 4 Dead 1 levels were very generic. If you have a car sequence where you're trying to get gas to a sequence, a zombie that blocks the car or runs really fast, that could run alongside the car as you're escaping, might be an interesting idea. In Death Toll, yeah, again, I barely remember that level. I think you were just mostly crossing a bridge or something, crossing a tunnel, unless that was the one that ended with the bells. Yeah, I can barely even remember it, so I don't know what kind of sub boss you'd make, but clearly you should have made a boss, in my mind, for each of these scenarios. Dead air, you have airplanes, so a zombie that could attack you from the air one way or the other would have been interesting. Whether that is just zombies jumping down from the ceiling a lot, and then in that final fight where you're surrounded by airplanes, you'd have like hunters jumping from the air and jumping on you. That would have been fine. Yeah, some of these definitely should have like a super boomer or a super witch. Like, you should have, for every special infected, a super version of that. Blood Harvest would have been a fine place to have a super witch attack you. And then Coldstream and The Last Stand are content that was added later. So, yeah. At this rate, we have like 3 more things. And if I hadn't talked for so long, I would have done the developer commentary. Because the developer commentary is based on the parish, which I kind of feel like somebody's gonna die, and that's the pun on that name. What's funny is if they wanted you to add on campaigns here, they really didn't give you a lot of room to do that. Like 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 add-on campaigns, unless when you install an add-on, it is not in that menu. Interesting. There are 3 add-ons of something that were installed by default. The other thing I'd want to see, let's see. If I was to say, play with friends, create a new campaign lobby. Yeah. When you do this, you do select the difficulty, which seems like that should just be adaptive. Single player. Hard rain would be kind of a let's see. Hard rain, Milltown, difficulty normal, random. What is different when you play realism mode? We need to figure this out, because otherwise I have really no way or understanding as to why I would want to play realism mode.
This should be easy. You just need to grab some diesel.
You want to hear a prediction?
No.
No,
There's not going to be any gas. Watch.
don't jinx us, Nick.
Okay. Close around items. disabled search carefully. Is that literally zombies take less damage to the body, aim for the head? I am noticing that even on easy, glows around fellow survivors are disabled.
Reloading.
Rescues are disabled. Players can only respawn at safe rooms.
Can we not shoot each other?
You want to save some items for your return trip.
Oh shit! Watch out!
You may want to save some for your return trip. Okay.
I never thought I'd miss a gun so much.
Reloading.
So, realism mode seems to be fairly similar.
All right, gun.
Like, it doesn't really feel like the visuals changed any. If it did, it added just a kind of fog side to it. So, here's what I want to do. I want to run as fast as possible to something that will kill me. Although,
Out of gas.
on easy, there's only enough to
Still have gas.
kill
Because
you.
if they don't, you're gonna be stuck here forever, man.
Like, you can't die for trying.
I hear a smoker.
It's like,
Here you go, man. I want you to have this.
Thanks.
so like realism mode really is just like a advanced mode, kind of a hardcore mode, but not quite in a hardcore mode. Here we can see how many shirtless zombies do we see as far as three different character models. The faces, the heads, the hairs are pretty similar. The gene colors seem to cycle between 3 or 4 different ones. Okay, I'm dead, and still seems like people can pick me up. Smacking people doesn't seem to do anything.
Man, those zombies beat my ass.
Through that playground.
Hey, watch out for landmarks. Maybe coming through here in a hurry on the way back.
Interesting, the game just tells you. This guy's trying to heal me. I'm trying to die. You know what? We can solve this problem this way.
I'm gonna reload.
I'm down.
And see, I'm like,
All good now.
we're at the strike 3 section. I would like to see these sequences when you're attacked, where the zombies. I'd like to see the zombies much more in your face.
I don't get off the boat now. Y'all are gonna have to get the gasoline and come back here. Signal at me when you get the gas.
We should be in and out of here. Get the gas, get back to shore, signal Virgil with the flare gun and the gun bag. Then we should just...
Okay, well, that does not feel like that's much of a difference as far as gameplay. In a real apocalypse, good teamwork is. We know what versus is. Then we now know what realism versus is. Survival mode, if I was to play that, seems like you can play wherever, like the thing that's weird about this would be, yeah, you just choose a chapter, and then I guess at that time in survival mode you just try to go as long as possible. Scavenge, on the other hand, can only be played online. Mutation seems like you can only do online too. And it seems like it is kind of an insanely long collections of, let's see, if we get down to one player, there is some mutations, but so if we were to do last man on Earth, and then start, and then start this again, start this, and see what this is. And I'm still having to use a lot of the menu. I mean, I guess I kind of get the idea in this scenario that you would literally just play as, literally only play as one player in single player. But does this really scale when you do this? Or have I just set myself up for complete and total failure? Because, like, now you would not want any defibrillators at all.
Mama told me not to play with fire, but I never thought I'd miss a gun so much.
So yeah, in single player, you basically would have to struggle yourself to be free. Otherwise, these two characters are going to no, it's not letting me free. So one single attack here just highlights how this game does not work as a single player game. It was never programmed that way. It was never designed that way. It threw me a slight bone after nearly a minute of being strangled.
I don't get off the boat. You're gonna have to get the gas and get back here. Signal me when you get the gasoline.
So you're just gonna have an incredibly unfair experience in, I imagine, a lot of these mutations because of the way it is designed. See if we were to select this mutation and then start a game. I imagine that this doesn't change anything in a helpful way either by starting you with a Magnum. So yeah, it's no surprise that you have 3 AI companions instead of just having a single player horror thing. And if you were going to make a single player mutation that really made some sense, it would almost certainly have to change the visuals quite a bit. Make it.
I sure wish the burger tank was open.
Wow. And I think you only get the Magnum in this mutation. So Unless they've turned off the triggering
gas.
of special mutants,
Shit.
which would be very boring, but definitely something different.
Boomer!
You're gonna run into a major issue. Like, I just don't see.
Got a whip. In! Shoot it! Shoot it! Run! Run! Witch coming through!
Yeah, I don't imagine how you really take out a witch with just a magnum. I actually managed to do it, but it doesn't matter. Now, I will say I think it probably is a slightly unfair experiment here to look at the two levels that specifically only allow one player. I bet a decent amount of these other games do work fairly well. This one says Left 4 Dead co-op, which Left 4 Dead 1 co-op, play co-op old school. Interesting, and that's 14 campaigns. So in that case, with that mutation, looks like you could play single player. And I'm wondering, in this case, do you get to play without some of the other newly added items or newly added special infected? Because that would be what I would expect, is that there would be a limitation here to play the game like it was originally created.
Oh, hell. Tell me someone brought the gun bag. Me? I told Nick to grab the guns.
They have a lot of the same type of conversation. So if this is like Left 4 Dead 1, then there won't be any adrenaline. There won't be any guns that weren't in the original game.
I sure wish the burger tank was open.
Arguably, there was a sniper rifle, there was a shotgun, there was a machine gun. So that does seem like that is in line accurately. We didn't see any zombie goo or anything like that. So the only real question is now, are we going to see jockeys? Are we going to see Charger? Or is it just going to be a lot of boomers, hunters, and witches?
Reloading.
And I assume there will be no melee weapons.
Reloading.
I like that this mutation exists. I have to question it severely, though. I don't feel like this is a better system in any way. I think people would be completely fooling themselves to think that having less variety of weapons and less variety of items is a better way to play the game. Because at a certain point then you're making an argument that there was some kind of like genius simplicity in Left 4 Dead 1 that I just cannot follow that logical path. Like, clearly there was no real genius to the limited amount of items. It was just a matter of...
All right, let's hustle, people. Storms come up quicker. Throw in the mother... I'm down!
hopefully by
Thanks.
knocking.
Hey man, hold up.
I was
Healing.
hoping that I might trigger more
That's
zombies
what I'm
showing
talking
up,
about.
but it really didn't.
Smoke around here.
I know one thing. I'm grabbing pills.
I'm gonna reload.
Yeah, I think I've seen enough on this mutation. It seems like it is
Reloading.
limited.
Reload.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna see any spitters, any jockeys, anything like that.
Let's cut through the garage sale.
We probably won't even see the female skin on the boomers. So yeah, I don't see any reason to play any further of that. Let's just look at what other mutations might have been. Let's see. Play survival old school. Special delivery flu season. Death store. Stats tracker and trainer. Gunbrain stores data for up to 10 players and boils it down to easy read graphs. Each weapon keeps its own stats. Gunbrain also tracks damage that you take. Interesting. Is Gunbrain, that's a item, or does it just tell you at the end? Which it seems like almost every level did. Almost all of these are done by Valve too. You're seeing a couple others labeled as non-Valve things. Let's see. The only shot that counts is the one in the head. That sounds a little too difficult. Share the gnome to replenish life. Your health is ticking away. See, that wouldn't work either. Double the specials, quadruple the fun. That's labeled as hard 8. Face 8 special infected at one time. This is double the standard number. And if that wasn't trouble enough, we also increased the spawning frequency, so it's raining specials. Yeah, that doesn't sound actually fun. These sound like gimmicks that somebody sat around one day and thought would be fun, but in reality, it just breaks the game balance. Let's just call a spade a spade. Broken game balance does not make for a better experience. Yeah. Although I guess if this was the very last thing you added and the last thing you worked on, mutations might make it seem like there's more life to Left 4 Dead than there really is. Unfortunately, we keep seeing the truth of this is that there's very, very little life in this game. I'm still very much struggling to find the motivation to continue the play. It's fairly exhausting, and there's just really not a lot to say in a lot of these scenarios. I can wrap up the first 5 scenarios as simply a zombie shooter where you walk from point A to point B or run from point A to point B, and that's it. Like, sometimes you get stopped and have to wait in an area for a while. Hard Rain does something slightly different in that you walk from point A to point B, then back to point A. And one-note tricks really aren't enough. Like, even if it's a one-note trick in a specific chapter, like there is a chapter in the Dark Carnival where you are in the Tunnel of Love, but you're just in the Tunnel of Love. That's it. That's the only trick there. Anyways, we'll try and finish the parish. Then I think we are pretty much skipping all of the levels we've already played, even though they would play slightly differently now that they would have, I assume all these levels have slightly bigger areas, so if you ran around looking for the new areas you'd find them, but there's no collectibles in single player, at least, for looking in those new areas, and no real motivation to go to those new areas. We're still not really finding a lot of motivation to even look around and run and investigate a map thoroughly in the new maps. So yeah, we'll do the parish, then we'll skip down to Coldstream, and then the last stand, and I think that's it. Although, you know what I'm noticing here is that Coldstream and the last stand may very well be new levels for the characters in the first game, because now that I'm looking at the picture, the parish clearly has the characters from Left 4 Dead 2. The sacrifice has silhouette of characters, so I'm not 100% sure that it is all of the characters from Left 4 Dead 2. Then you get back to No Mercy, and all of these are the characters from Left 4 Dead 1, clearly. And then you have Coldstream, and it doesn't really show anybody. It's like a silhouette. And then looking at the last stand, that does look like it is the characters from the first game. So either there's some bit of DLC that came out for Left 4 Dead 1 that I didn't get when I bought the entirety of the Valve bundle on Steam, or they went back and made 2 new scenarios for the characters of Left 4 Dead 1 that possibly explain something a little bit better than what was explained in the passing, or just give a little bit more story to these characters. Although with a name like The Last Stand, you kind of assume that nobody is going to survive, and that seems like that's a really weird way to just kill off the characters in the first game, or end any scenario anyways. We've let this go on too long. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.